Right now, we are joined by Bluegrass legend, Mr. Tim Raybon, and he will be in Valdese this weekend performing at the Old Rock School. So many of you out there who are Bluegrass fans, you definitely recognize this gentleman that you see on your screens right now. But first off, I just want to say thank you for speaking with me.
Well, thank you, Fentress. It's great to be with you this morning. Thanks so much.
Now, your career dates back to, correct me if I'm wrong, back to you started when you were at the age of 11, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. I started playing professionally when I was around 11.
Okay. Yeah. And you started back with your fathers and your brothers. So this is not just you, this is a musical family. So tell me about that. What prompted your start in music? I know your father, he was already a musician, but what got you interested and said, hey, I want to do this too?
Well, yeah, we grew up with a big musical family. My dad was a fiddle player, and of course, we listened to, country at that point in time, like on the radio, because my dad was a construction worker. So when we went to work with him, he would listen to country radio. So we kind of grew up listening to country, but he also loved bluegrass music, and he loved Bill Monroe, loved Flatt and Scruggs, and Jimmy Martin, people like that growing up. So we had 8-track tapes then, or long LPs, and so Daddy would play quite a bit of that kind of music, and we just kind of got an interest in it. Me and my two other brothers. I have another brother named Marty, and another brother who unfortunately passed away this past year, Rick. Grew up listening to bluegrass music probably more than country after we kind of got a taste of it. And our dad brought us to a couple of festivals and stuff like that. We just fell in love with the whole concept of just everybody coming together as a community, if you will. And people would be up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning playing music, jamming, if you will. And that was just kind of interesting to us. And we got to stay up late too, so that worked out well. And so that's just kind of how we got started. And then by the time I was 9 or 10, I got to playing guitar, then I learned how to play bass. And then around 11 years old, my brothers and I formed an actual band. And we played WSM's Midnight Jamboree a few times. We traveled all over the country. We played probably 48 weekends a year and play shows for Lester Flatt, of course, Bill Monroe, the Osborne brothers, Jim and Jesse. And so that went on for about 10 years. And then after that was over and done with, I was getting ready for college. My brother Marty left and moved to Nashville, and he started a group called Shenandoah, which would turn out to be a big country music artist, a band, I should say, in the 90s and into the 2000s. Then he would kind of come back to bluegrass. Then all this time, I was just kind of just playing, some, and I would play some shows with them. I would play bluegrass shows with Marty when Marty would do a bluegrass show, and that's kind of how I got to where I'm at now today. We just come off the #1 album of the year for 2021, Songs of a Simple Life, and we were just so elated, obviously, to have that happen. Out of all the bluegrass bands that are out there, why not with the #1 album? So we were very, very fortunate to have that happen to us.
And this is your sophomore album, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And I want to go back to this, and I just want to talk about kind of on a personal level. You mentioned the passing of your brother. That's been less than 6 months ago, and he passed on July 31st, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Just on a personal level, what is it like? Obviously people, they know you, they see you on the TV screens, they listen to you on their radio stations, but how do you cope with that? You're always in the spotlight, but so many people have been losing loved ones, obviously, through the pandemic. But when you are a star, such as yourself, how do you go on as far as, being professional and doing what you do, but also realizing that, hey, I just lost a loved one? How do you deal with that? Because I feel like a lot of people, they don't really touch on the fact that, celebrities, they deal with things too, and they still have to get out and perform.
And that is a great question. Years ago, I love history, and years ago I read an article about Rose Kennedy, the mother of John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, and Ted Kennedy. And she went through a lot of tragedy, much more than I've gone through. And I've lost my mom and my dad, but that's at the age that I am, that kind of happens. Losing a sibling is kind of tough. That is kind of tough. However, in this article, she was asked, this is after the passing of Robert Kennedy. And of course, she lost her oldest son, Joseph Kennedy, in the Second World War. And obviously lost John F. Kennedy and then Robert Kennedy. And she was asked, how do you deal with all this tragedy? How are you the person that you are today? And her quote was simply this. She says, after every storm, birds sing. So you got to come out singing. No matter what you go through, no matter what storms of life you go through, you got to come out singing. And that has stuck with me for decades. I just thought that was, and I was very young when I read that. And I thought that is so profound, but it's true. Life goes on. I will say this, Fentress. I wrote the song "God's Still in Control" back almost 2 years ago when COVID-19 was very new to us.
Right.
Nobody kind of knew what was going to happen, and when we heard the president say that he was going to shut the country down. Now, I got a little age on me, and I've never heard a president ever say that. I've never heard anybody ever say that they're going to shut the country down. Well, I knew that there would be a lot of hurting people financially. That would go through a lot of trials and tribulations and a lot of just dismay of, what do I do? And I was just burdened by that. And I just wanted to write a song about it. And I went to my bedroom. In about 15 minutes, I came out with this thought that I know the world's different than what it was yesterday. And what you thought was certain has now gone away. Everybody's life changed overnight. At that time, we just didn't know. We heard about promoters canceling shows. Band leaders were letting their staff go. That concession people had no job.
Yeah.
The people who make T-shirts had no job. So it just everyone. And there wasn't a CARES Act at that point in time. So people were just like in dismay of what do I do? Again, I was just kind of burdened with just saying, look, I know things are different than what they were last week, yesterday, an hour ago. But don't forget, God's still in control. God's still in control, no matter what we go through. And, people's lives have been turned upside down, and they've turned to God, and God has got them through it. And so I just wanted to kind of relay that to people. And then going through my brother's, passing, and he did not pass away with COVID. He had cancer. But it's tough. You just kind of got to know at your age that can happen and try to prepare yourself for it. But I'm blessed. I mean, I had him for 62 years. I'm not 62, but he lived to be 62. So it wasn't like he was very young. A lot of people go through a lot more tragedy than what I've gone through. So I just count myself fortunate and blessed that he was my brother. I loved him. He was part of our band growing up. So we were still very, very close. And he loved what I was doing. He loved what our brother Marty has been doing, and he was very supportive.
I appreciate you touching, on that topic. I always like to ask that question because it seems like anytime that I'm doing these interviews, I'm always sticking to, hit and show, but it's never on, on a mental level of how are you doing? What's next for you? And speaking on that, since you are coming to Valdese, what can folks expect when they come out to the show this weekend? Obviously, you're still got multi number one hits out right now with Tim Raybon Band, but what are you looking forward to the most about performing this weekend?
Well, first off, I love North Carolina for several different reasons. We have obviously a lot of friends there and a big fan base in North Carolina. But my son also graduated from UNC too, so there you go. So with a master's in mathematics, so we love North Carolina. But no, the Old Rock School is a phenomenal venue. We played there last year, had a great time with a group called New Blue. They were with us as well. And just had a great time. And she asked us to come back. We were just thrilled that she asked us to come back. It is such a great area. We love that little small town of Valdese. And we just love the whole area. My wife and I are actually going a day early. We're going to Morganton and hanging out. We know some folks there. So we're going to hang out in Morganton for the day before the show on Saturday. But just love the whole area. We love the Bluegrass fans in North Carolina are a little different than all the other areas that we go to. They are real diehard Bluegrass fans. They are Earl Scruggs to the bone, J.D. Crowe, people like that just love Bluegrass. So we're very thrilled to go there. It is a great, great venue. We just love playing there.
And can the fans who are coming, who are longtime fans since you were a child, can they hear songs of that nature dating back to your father, to the family band?
Well, we don't do any songs that old, I should say, but we're doing like "Hello Sunshine," that was #1 for us for 6 weeks, and then "Leaving Town Tonight," which was also a big song for us, and "God's Still in Control," and then "Harlan Darlin," and then "Goodbye Marie." All the songs that have been really successful off of this last record that we've had, and of course on our first record as well. But we just we do a whole array of songs in a bluegrass style. We'll do some George Jones, Randy Travis, of course Merle Haggard. We'll do Bill Monroe, Flat Scruggs, and then our own music, because I write quite a bit for our band. And so we try to entertain. We're not one-dimensional. We try to shake it up a little bit. We'll kind of be all over the place. But the band, let me just go back to the band. We have a phenomenal band. Kevin Richardson and Matt Wright are from that area, by the way, and they're known really very, very well in that area. And then we have Derek Deakins, who is from South Carolina, but is also well known in that North Carolina area. He's our fiddle player, and he's one of the greatest entertainers I know. And of course, Daniel Grindstaff, which has been my partner in this music endeavor for the last 3 years, is probably one of the best banjo players I've ever known, period. And I've been around a long time. There's other great banjo players, but me personally, I just really, really enjoy his playing. So, and he's very well known as well in that area. So, but no, we just do a whole array of music. It's not one dimensional. We try to entertain. We'll do Kenny Loggins, we'll do Don Williams again, and then all the country greats and all the bluegrass greats. So it's really a lot of fun, a lot of high energy as well.
So there you have it, folks. If you haven't got your tickets yet, be sure to get those. Happening at the Old Rock School again this Saturday night. And what an honor it is to be joined by Mr. Tim Raybon. Thank you so much again for speaking with me.
Thank you, Fentress. Thank you so much.